All right, we're live, everyone. Thanks for your patience on that. I had some technical difficulties on my side, and this is the challenge with roving live podcasts. Is occasionally you come across these sort of realities of doing things in vivo. Thanks everyone for joining today. Of course, getting to hell yes, we're talking about the way people decide to change, why they do things differently, and the mystery around how do we connect and contact these people. Thrilled to have Jason here today from DoorGrow. We first chatted a couple weeks back just around project management, how we manage project management, what project management can do, or property management can do for the business, and how we take a look at property management differently, and how we can move from, we had Dee Lee on just earlier this week, move from kind of like mom and pop type operation to a professionally managed, residential property manager, and the steps to go from A to B to help you scale your business, become more profitable, and ultimately become more successful with this investment, be it a passive or secondary investment or your primary business. And I think what's really special about this conversation is that there's not a lot of, so for starters, property management is difficult. It can cost you more money than you're actually going to make on it. And secondly, it can take a lot of your time beyond what your conventional investments can do if you're not doing it the right way. And that includes everything from property selection, leasing, the attraction process, and then ultimately into the operations of your business. Now, what was cool about our first chat when we first connected was just talking about the discipline that Jason helps you kind of unlock in how you do those things so you can make more money at the business that you're getting into. How's that for a quick intro?
Sounds good. Yeah.
So like we always do, this is brought to you by Iris CX. Iris is remote property management software or property maintenance software that allows you to take a look at the problem, know before you go, so you're not burning your time, money, and efforts looking at problems you don't need to look at, or knowing what you have to look at before you get there. And then ultimately, if you are listening to this on live, we love the comments, so we can kind of like go through those and figure out and answer questions in real time. If you're listening to this on podcast or Spotify or Apple, please hit comment, please add comments, please rate the show. It helps people find us better. And from that, we'll get into the real show. Jason, a little bit about your background. How did you get into DoorGrow? Because you've been doing this for like 15 or 10 plus years now.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
what's a problem you solve for your people?
Yeah. So how I got into it is my brother bought a property management franchise back in 2008. And
Okay.
I started a web design agency back in 2008. And so he came to me and said, "Hey, could you take a look at this website corporate gave me?" And I was like, "This doesn't look that great. Here's some ideas. And why don't you make these changes?" He's like, "Cool." And then he came back to me and said, "Can you just do one for me?" So I did. And then all of his fellow franchisees wanted, and they were the leading franchise at the time. And so I started building sites for them. And then we started ranking nationally for property management website design. And then people wanted websites really because they were hoping it would grow their property management business. So we started focusing on growth. And now we are, I would say, the world's best coaching organization for long-term residential property managers. And we have more testimonials than anyone else in the industry. So that's how we got started.
That's a bit of a leap to go from website and lead gen.
Yeah.
And that's a bit of a leap to go from lead gen demand management all the way into operations. How did you guys kind of like bridge that gap?
Yeah. So we started helping grow companies and we got really good at that. And we almost became like bar rescue for property managers. Like we were cleaning up their pricing, redoing their websites, redoing their branding. We were changing everything because they came to us with all these problems and they thought the issue was getting leads. And I'm like, we can get you leads, but you have to answer your phones. And so their sales processes weren't good. And so we started cleaning up businesses to get them ready to be marketing clients because they were bad marketing clients. And then, but the process of building out a program to clean up their business to make them better marketing clients, it actually solved their problem. It would double their close rate, double the amount of deals they were getting on. So then they didn't need the lead gen stuff that we did. So I was like, well, maybe we're onto something and maybe we should do coaching. And so eventually it evolved into coaching them on growth, and we got really good at helping them grow. And then we ate our own dog food, rebranded our own company as DoorGrow, and went all in just on property management companies. And then we were creating a new problem. we were helping people grow so quick that some were adding 1, 2, sometimes even 300 doors in a year. And that creates a lot of chaos when it comes to operations. And so we had to create systems for them that be able to scale and to handle operations. And I had a scaling problem too. I was like, so I worked with some of the best in coaches and mentors. And one of them I worked with for 3 years. That was an operations coach. And I then innovated on his stuff and built systems. And so I started focusing. Yeah, I got dogs with me. Sorry, everybody.
That happens.
So I then started focusing on, as a company, we started focusing on helping them with operations. So we started building out hiring systems eventually. And these are all systems I needed internally. I needed a planning system and a cadence of meetings and structure, and to shift focus towards strategic away from tactical stuff. I needed a hiring system where I could consistently get good hires because I'd had a lot of bad ones. So sometimes I joke that DoorGrow was built on thousands of mistakes. So, yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting. I mean, just even under the context of hell yes, right? Like the pull that you're feeling during the like it's the pull that you're feeling with the fundamentals with respect to achieving the goal of getting more leads, more doors. I mean, and more residents. All of that pull was like blockers you had to unblock in order to achieve, even earn the right to get more leads and more doors.
Yeah.
And that was kind of something you're feeling personally, and then ultimately trying to move that for your customers or helping to get more leads. It's like all of a sudden you keep running the same problem over and over again. It self-defines itself in terms of something you've got to address.
Yeah, this really is the entrepreneurial journey. I mean, entrepreneurs start out, they have this fantasy of getting a business going. The fantasy is hopefully delicious enough to entice them to actually get started, which a lot don't. And then once they actually get started, reality hits them hard and cold in the face. And they realize that they were only looking at all the upside. And then they are faced with the challenge of being the solopreneur, and they have to wear every hat. And nobody enjoys wearing every hat. And so we start businesses because I have a framework I teach clients, and I call it the 4 reasons for starting a business. And this is my goal as a coach, is to help them get these 4 things. And it's more fulfillment in life. It's more freedom. It's contribution, benefiting others. And then it's more support. Like, so as you build your business initially, you actually have less fulfillment and you have less freedom initially.
Yep.
And you don't feel like you're making a difference if you don't have those 2 things, really. And so that's contribution. And you can't have those first 3 unless you have a really good team, because that's support. You can't really maximize fulfillment and freedom and contribution if you're wearing every hat in your business and you hate it, right? And
but you can't afford those people to support you from a team perspective unless you start getting the revenue going. Like there's a bit of a tug or chicken and egg problem that every entrepreneur's got to work itself through.
And you got to be careful with that, right? It's like, it's a dangerous stage. It's a hard stage. This is why half of all businesses fail in what? The first year, I think they say, and 90% in the first 5 years or something like this. Most businesses fail eventually, and because it's hard. This is the visual that I usually use with clients to help them understand how important it is to make good decisions financially. You remember Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom?
Yeah.
You remember he steals the statue and he's running and the boulder's rolling down the hill at him and he's got to run?
Yeah.
And I don't know how he can just run out of there. He should have probably went in that way, maybe, but he's just running out of there and the boulder's coming. Well, Indiana Jones running, that's us trying to generate revenue. It's revenue generation. We got to do that. We start the business. We grab that statue and we don't realize what an idiot we were in the beginning. And we grab the statue and we're like, this will be easy. And then we realize, oh crap, there's a boulder coming after me called expenses. And expenses are coming after me. I got to generate revenue. So I'm footing it. I'm running. And the gap in between the boulder and Indiana Jones, that's cash flow. And if there's no cash flow, Indiana Jones dies, right? The business is dead. And so entrepreneurs don't realize this. And what they do is they keep making the boulder bigger without realizing it. They're like, well, let's add this and so we got to make really careful decisions that don't make the boulder bigger, that make us run faster. And the slope of that Indiana Jones is running on is the speed of growth at which we want to grow. So it's a lot less dangerous if the slope is really gradual, right? But we're entrepreneurs, so we go crazy. Like, let's go crazy.
I think what makes that metaphor so appropriate is if you know the story, he comes out of that tunnel and the other guy grabs the idol out of his hands. Right?
He takes it. He's like,
takes it.
Thanks. I'm going to go acquire this 100-door property management company that did all the hardest work. And because you're miserable, I'll take this. And thank you very much.
Yeah. And they just take it, they snatch it.
And they
right out of your hands.
Steps. Yes.
Yeah. Because you got through everything. That's a very appropriate way of describing it. Particularly you consider all the obstacles that you've got to cross, like the arrows.
Well, Indiana Jones is running, and if he sees once, he can't stop and smell flowers. He can't he can't have a bad hire. He can't have a bad investment. He has to make really good decision making, or the boulder gets really close. And then you do stupid things like maybe take out a short-term business loan. I've done that. That's awful. Then the boulder's bigger and faster. So now you got to run even faster, right? So stuff like that. So like entrepreneurs in the beginning make so many mistakes. And like one is I called the clone myth. One of the early stage entrepreneurs believe if they could just clone themselves, their life would be better. If they could just find one person. So they go try to hire somebody just like them.
Yeah.
And in property management, if you hire somebody that's like you, they're an entrepreneur, they just steal your clients. They eventually leave and they take clients with them. Like, oh, I got this property manager. They're just like me. Would you work for yourself? Probably not. Like I'm unemployable at this point as an entrepreneur. I can't work for somebody else. Right. And so, so that's the challenge. They go hire somebody like them that's highly adaptable, wants fulfillment and freedom. Most people on the planet don't want those four things over what I call the fifth reason. The fifth reason is safety and certainty, or safety and security. That's what makes everyone else not an entrepreneur. The majority of the people on the planet, not entrepreneurial. Maybe that will shift at some point, but we're the minority right now. And we value freedom, fulfillment, contribution more than safety.
Well, it's funny so here's another lens on that. So I agree with you, is I actually find that I value safety and security actually more than other people, but I don't like the deal. Like I don't like the employment arrangement. I feel like there's more systematic risk.
Yeah, you and I as entrepreneurs
agreeing to that deal.
Safer. We feel like it's safer to not put our eggs in someone else's basket. We want to control the basket.
Yeah,
that's 100%. The thing is, all these people that want safety and certainty, they want to go work for entrepreneurs. They don't realize they're working for crazy people. That's what they don't realize. They don't realize how unsafe that is. Yeah, I want control.
I'll let this word. I was just teaching a class just before this. Entrepreneurs are benevolent narcissists.
Yeah.
We believe we can change the world
right now. And it's talking about narcissism, and it talks about how that's important when we're young. It's important because if not, we end up starving if we don't take care of our own needs, or we end up hyper change. And so we take care of our own needs, but sometimes we go too far and we learn to not even take care of ourselves. And there's an opposite side of that. If we swing the pendulum too far, then we're not getting our needs met. We're that pleaser that gets taken advantage of all the time, and we're miserable. And I don't think we were designed to be that either, right? So there is a healthy balance of narcissism. We can obviously go too far.
Right? Well, I mean, you'd be naive about the definition of the word if you didn't think that believing that you can change the world is narcissism.
There's a little bit of grandiose thing there.
Delusions of grandeur, right? To go to Han Solo. And that's the thing that I think that I like to coach on when I'm talking to folks is like, look, you got to understand that just your view of the world is not everyone else's view of the world. And so you've got to understand how to bend your perspective in to fit their perspective. And I talk about pull a lot. And this is borrowed this from Rob Schneider is around like understanding the problem they're trying to solve, why it's unavoidable, why the options that they've got, what the options that they've got, and why those options are lacking. And that forms this concept of why people make choices. And a lot of it has to do with getting to hell yes, is like thinking about, okay, I want to be an entrepreneur. Maybe I would want to, I own single family rentals and I was a terrible landlord in retrospect, but like, and it took away from my life. The Christmas Eve call was something I lived through. The hot water tank is busted on Christmas Eve. Like that happens in real life, happened to me.
Yeah.
And like, oh, by the way, you're not really in a position to negotiate on Christmas Eve when you're trying to place a hot water tank with the resident or with the HVAC vendor. So it's like those sort of things all come to life as if you choose this as an investment, as a hobby, as a side gig, or as your primary source of revenue. And I think it's interesting is that like property management on the surface seems and feels like it's a pretty basic thing. It's been around for thousands and thousands of years. I'm going to have an asset. Maybe I manage it for somebody else. Maybe I manage it myself. I collect rent from it and I pay out the expenses. Oh, blah, da. But it's not that simple, particularly when you get into scattered site and SFR, which is kind of where you specialize, right? Like that's a different animal than multifamily, than 300 units in an acre and a half. And like, so just explain a little bit about, if you could help us like understand a little bit around the problems that are faced by, or actually better, at what point do people realize I need to get a coach in their SFR business?
I don't think people wake up in the morning and go, you know what I need? I need a coach today. I don't think that's usually what happens. I think they think I have this problem. I've had, my own delusions of grandeur that I could figure it all out on my own. I've tried it for a year or 2 or 3. I mean, I've had people come to me after years of trying to do it on their own. They're like, I was that guy once. Like I was like, if I watch enough YouTube videos and read enough books, I could do it all.
Yep.
I could do it all. And I really believe that the slowest path to growth is to do it alone.
Yeah.
That's the slowest path. And I've been able to collapse time. I'm addicted to coaches. I have multiple right now. My wife's like, you can't add it anymore. Don't add any more things. Like complete something. But I love, like my personal mission in life, my why is to inspire others to love true principles. So what that means is I love learning and developing frameworks and getting ideas and synthesizing things and piecing things together. And I love being able to share that with other people. I would do that for free, for fun. I'm doing it for free, for fun right now. Right? Like I just love doing that. And that's why I built DoorGrow. DoorGrow really was built eventually once I got clarity on myself and what I wanted out of life. My version of freedom and fulfillment and contribution and support, the 4 reasons. Then I was able to build a business that gave me what I wanted and allowed me to benefit others. And that's ultimately what a business should be. A business should be something that gives you fulfillment and helps others get it too. If it's not, it's either snake oil for the people you're providing to, or it's a master to you and you are a slave to your own business.
Yeah. And that's especially difficult if you've got debt.
Yeah.
Right. Which is you typically need to manage an asset.
Yeah.
Right. Because debt can be that big, ugly monster that sits in the corners of the room that no one talks about, but they just hear that thumping. Right. Every time you got to make a P&I print a payment. Right. Every single time you got to get a refinance. Right. It's just thumping. And that, we exited properties that we were managing.
And you have to let everyone see it too when you want to go get another loan or get something else. Like everyone's like, let's look back. Whoa, what's this big thing back here? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like you mentioned, the short-term financing too, right? Like all that kind of crap that you kind of got to you might consider as an option, or equity loans and all those things. Like
they're like, we're doing a DSCR loan this time. I just keep that hidden back there.
Yeah, I'm just going to nest that in the balance sheet somewhere where no one can seize it, right? Like we're going to take a look at some of the work that we were doing. So I had a number of properties for we bought one the first one we bought in 2004 and held that right until 2023, and did well on an appreciation perspective. But man, when Feb 2 hit and the Fed bumped rates, like it happened so fast. We were floating around on variable rates for like 1.5%, 2% for like call it like 7 or 8 years,
Good
right?
times,
We're
man.
getting mostly PI, but then all of a
Those were the
sudden,
days.
those were the days, right? And rent wasn't going up too much, but then all of a sudden, like our interest climbed faster than our legal ability to increase rent, right? And so all of a
Mhm.
sudden we're underwater on these properties and paying to have this headache. And I
Yeah.
was like, wait a second, this is not working out. This became not very fun real quick.
Yeah, yeah.
And so exited a few of those properties and
Mhm.
just like and then all the and what I found crazy is like not only the interest go up faster, but like the property taxes were going up faster,
Mhm.
insurance was going up faster, then all these things I could like they were going up faster and I could legally increase rent. There was no I'd hit the ceiling of what I could increase legal
Yeah.
on a year-to-year term, right?
A
Lease
lot of
term.
my clients are seeing that in Florida right now. They have a lot of clients, investors that are not cash flowing on their units anymore
Yeah.
because there's so much
Yeah.
inventory rent-wise. Rent's gone down. They can't sell their properties to make what they need, so they're stuck. But my clients, what they're telling their clients is basically still not all investments are always up, and cash flowing all the
Mhm.
time. The stocks don't do
Mhm.
that. Like it doesn't mean you ditch the asset. If you can float it, it will pay off in the long run. But yeah, some of
Mhm.
these investors, it might be 3 to 5 years before things flip there. Who knows?
Well, I think there's a point where you're writing those checks that you're kind of like, is this something I want to really be in? Like, is
Yeah,
there a path out of this? Like, do I
how to
see a
exit.
moment where this is going to get above water?
Mhm.
And you look around the region that you're renting in and see all the for sale signs up, and you're like, geez, like one more? Like, is this really going to make a difference? Like, am I just now I've got a vacant unit, right? That's not, and there's just door signs everywhere that the windstorm comes in. It's just like a big, huge, like,
Yeah.
it's a what the hell those things are called? Those things that make noise when the wind blows. But like, that's the kind of
The
problem
wind
that you're
chime.
facing. The wind chime. Thank you. And like, that's that was my story. And so like, I
Yeah.
when I talk about our realization of, and we weren't really P&Ling it like a proper P&L because it was all personal. So it's
Mhm.
just like it wasn't someone else's money. It was all personal investment. And so we weren't P&Ling it on a monthly basis. We're kind of looking at it every quarter as I was kind of reconciling things. Like when I had to catch up with my credit card statements and all that kind of stuff.
Who's
And
who's
so
we?
me, me as we.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
All
I was
2
doing
of you.
all of me.
Okay.
And like I call it Sunday work. Like all of a sudden Sunday night, put the football game on and just like work,
Yeah.
doing stuff that you hate doing. And
Yeah.
like that wasn't a good use of my time. The investment was going south without me understanding it. And my options of what was available became very, very short, very, very quick because I wasn't interested in writing checks for this investment that were much higher than I had kind of planned for. And despite any sort of reserve that we'd captured over the years, that was all spent on other things because the forecast was that interest rates weren't going to go where they went. And so consequently, like I was very much not, I was, and I heard the word accidental landlord, but I was intentionally being a landlord,
Mm.
but unintentionally very bad at it. And so I didn't really
You're an
understand that
accidental bad landlord, but an
I was an
intentional
accidental.
landlord.
Yeah, exactly. And so like in those situations, I mean, and we had like 9 properties and I was like, this is insanity. And so boom, fire sale, pull the rope. Let's get out of this because I'm tired of writing checks. And then I've
Yeah.
got no perspective on where these things are going to go. And the contango of interest rates was such that I had no, I had doubt that we were going to get, it was going to be, higher for longer. And I didn't have the cash flow. It just didn't make good sense for me.
And
And with
somebody that was stacking cash made out like a bandit, right?
100%,
Yeah.
100%. And we still okay because we had them for so long. But if you look at the average return on those investments over like 20 years, they really didn't like
Yeah.
there's other ways to have more liquid investments. So why I'm sharing this story is that, like as a casual investor in this sub vertical, who's fairly, I think I'm pretty astute with numbers and I run businesses, et cetera. You can find yourself in the situation where you're not waking up to buy a coach. But like when I consider my options in front of me, right? It was like suffer it through it. It was sell it. I didn't even think of getting a coach.
Yeah.
Like the options that I had prescribed to myself and I chose to sell it was like, this is costing me money. I don't like this pain. And my initial reaction was like, I'm out. there's nothing, that my mind can conjure up that can get me out of this. Now, there are a lot of people in that same situation that may have 1, 2, 3, 4 ambitions of growing at 5,500 who are like doing it in hard mode
Yeah.
and they're doing it alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And it can be really lonely and it can be really hard. I've gone through some really hard times,
Mm-hmm.
and thinking I'll figure it out. And it's kind of a guy thing. We're a little stubborn, I've noticed, but
Mm-hmm.
we're just like, we're like Atlas. We're carrying the world on our shoulders and we're like,
Oh.
all right, I could take on more. I got this. I'll figure it out. And we eventually do, but it's not nearly as fast. Some
Yeah.
people take a decade to figure out what I could help them in a year do.
Yeah.
And I can help them avoid all of the experimentation, the mistakes, the stupid
Mm-hmm.
moves that people make when they get a property management business started, for example. So I've learned the benefit of coaches. Like I believe that whether I get value from them is on me.
Mm-hmm.
And and I look for those type of clients. I want clients that are positive active, as it's called. They're actively looking for the positive. The
Mm-hmm.
negative active ones can
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
find a flaw. Like nothing's perfect in my program, but the positive active clients, they crush it. They can win. They figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Negative
Mm-hmm.
active, they're like, well, I don't know if I should use your script. I'll try and remake it my way. And they're like, your stuff doesn't work. And I'm like, did you follow my script? Well, I kind of changed it. I'm like, just try my script out. They're like, hey,
Mm-hmm.
Jason, guess what? I tried your script out and it worked. I'm like, oh, really? That's amazing. Right. And
Mm-hmm.
so in the coaching industry, some coaches joke, if you get clients that ask you questions, but they don't actually listen or do what you tell them to do, they call them
Mm-hmm.
assholes.
Ask holes.
Yeah, assholes.
I like,
Yeah.
and that's like, and the other one is the inverse of that is no one likes to get shit on, right? Or you're
Okay.
being told, but you should do this, you should do this, you should do
Yeah.
this,
Don't
right?
shit all over me. But
Don't shit all over me.
yeah, stop shooting on me. Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
find
we do that to ourselves. We should. And maybe that's why should and shoulders are spelled similarly, because we keep stuff, all the shoulds onto our shoulders. Yeah. And so we're a shoulder, we're shooting all
yeah.
over ourselves. Yeah.
We can keep using that word all day long. Do you find that like you, like I'm constantly seeking personal improvement. The whole point of this show
Yeah.
is to kind of like listen and learn. And I'm finding that, and I've just restarted coaching folks, and I'm getting so much energy out of coaching. And what I'm finding interesting is that I'm getting clarity around what I'm learning because I'm doing the show, do, teach process,
Totally. Yeah.
right?
I get epiphanies and ideas all the time in coaching clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It
have to have a separate
clarifies our
notepad.
thinking. They give us new challenges we hadn't considered. And then our brain has something juicy to work on and to innovate.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the things I've really been big on lately is coaching my clients on impossible goals, because most are stuck in the realm of reality with realistic thinking. I got the idea from Ben Hardy. I was
Mm-hmm.
at a mastermind down in Mexico that he was
Dan
at.
Sullivan.
And yes, he wrote a lot of the books teaching Dan Sullivan's principles. He came out with a book called 10X is Easier than 2X. Great book.
2X.
His
Yeah.
next book after that is phenomenal. It's called The Science of Scaling. He just came out with it.
Okay.
And in this book, he expands on that idea of 10X being easier than 2X, but he points out how. And he talks about goals as a tool.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been coaching my clients on this idea that if their goal is survival, it's the worst goal. This is a grind in business, survival. And I get people coming to me like, Jason, my business is this, and I'm dealing with this. And I'm like, your goal is right now, sounds like is survival. And that's the worst goal. That's the worst place to be. The next level I've been teaching clients, level 2 in my mind, is realistic goals. Realistic goals are also a grind. Realistic goals are based on our current limited level of thinking that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's based on our current level of thinking, that means our brain has nothing to work on. It doesn't need to learn or figure anything else out. It usually just means work harder, or to grow this or to do this. I just got to do what I know how to do, but do more of it and work harder, which is not fun.
Mm-hmm.
And that's realistic goals. And so realistic goals almost always become a yardstick by which we beat ourselves up with once we don't
Yeah.
achieve it. Because we almost never hit the realistic goal because it's always based on what we know now, but working harder and doing more. And we have so many opportunities for that to be derailed in life.
Right.
Like so many things come up. So
There's a third.
unrealistic goals,
Yeah.
impossible goals means it's outside our brain's current limited level of thinking. And our brain is like a masterful supercomputer, like a quantum computer. It can create whole realities in your
Mm-hmm.
mind in seconds. Like we do this when dreaming, like things we've never even seen before, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it can come up with new ideas and new possibilities, but not if our goals are realistic. So he teaches in his book, The Science of Scaling, that the idea is that impossible goals become this playground in which our brain now has something to work on and to find
Mm-hmm.
new pathways. And it doesn't even matter if we hit the goal because the goal is just a tool to change our thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And so we either have to change the goal and make it so big it becomes impossible, or make the timeline so short it becomes impossible. And then our brain can find new pathways. And that path is almost always less steps and easier. It's 10x versus 2x. I'll give you an example. I had a client with
Loving
100
this.
doors. He wanted to get to 1,000 in a year. Most clients would say,
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to add 100.
Mm-hmm.
And how are you going to do that? Well, I'm hoping you give me a couple of tactics and I'll work really hard.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally doable. Anyone could add 100 doors in a year. Anybody could do that. They just have to pick up the phone for maybe an hour or two a day. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
They could do it. I've helped people do it in less time than that, like 6 months. A client I talked to today, he was from 0 to 105 units. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, 1,000, that's an impossible goal. He didn't even know how to do that. His name was Darius, and Darius was like, I don't even know how to do that. So his first thought was, well, I guess I could buy a company. That's the only thing I could think of. So he started
Mm-hmm.
looking. There's no companies big enough or that were for sale. It's hard to find a business that's for sale that's not already being courted by VC and other
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So he's like, well, I can't do that. Well, maybe I need to convince somebody to sell. So then he was like, I'll walk letters in. So you notice because of the goal, it changed the path. He started
Mm-hmm.
walking letters into all of his biggest competitors, shaking their hands, meeting them, letting them know his intent to buy their business.
Mm-hmm.
He met somebody, they liked Darius. This guy had had a business probably for 2 decades. And he liked Darius. He said, well, cool, I'll do the deal for this much money. Darius went to the bank. They said, you can get this much money. Darius
Mm-hmm.
went back to him and said, I can get this much money, which is less for
Mm-hmm.
those listening. And he said, fine, I'll do the deal. Because he liked Darius, because it's not always about money. He had built a business
Mm-hmm.
up over probably 2 decades to get to the size he was at. He had a team he cared about. He had clients he had a reputation with. He wanted to make sure he was going to turn it over to the right person. Darius was the right person.
Mm-hmm.
Super healthy mindset, obviously. Former military, really cool guy, really cool client. And he went through my mindset secrets training. And some clients go through it and they're like, yeah, it was pretty good. He was like, that was awesome. It was really
Mm-hmm.
good. So he gets it. And Darius did the deal with him. And that guy had 900 units. He was at 1,000 units in a year.
Wow.
And how did he didn't have to do 10 times the amount of phone calls a day and try
Yeah.
and figure out how to build a sales engine that did 1,000 calls a day. It was one step. He just went in and said, hey, can I buy your company? And he was like, yeah. And so a little bit of work there, and he even went and worked in the business incognito. Like he was like a team member for a year as
Mm-hmm.
they did the transition. And then the owner announced his retirement, said, Darius is your new boss, who who's been here for the last year. And everybody was like, we knew it. We knew you were going to be our new boss, because they loved him by then. And yeah. And so, but yeah, it was a much easier, better path. And not only that, Darius got a 900 person team. Most property management companies do not have great teams.
900 people?
No. There was a 900 door team. Sorry.
Doors. Yeah. Got it. Yeah.
So you have to understand, in property management, companies in the 2 to 400 door range usually have the worst teams. Below that, they almost don't have a team.
Yeah.
The worst teams I find are 2 to 400 units, and they almost never break 500, 600 units unless they have amazing team, really great culture. But that's what holds them back. That's why they get stuck. I call that 2 to 400 door stage the second sand trap in property management, the
Right.
team sand trap. And so he skipped all of that. He got a 900 door team, which is an amazing team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So like, and it comes with it, the systems, the culture, all those things that's ready bake, right? Rather than things you gotta fix and create.
At least started with great people, because that's the hardest piece,
Yeah.
right? To get is to have good culture, have good people. And most do it through Russian roulette over a decade or two to build a really good team. We actually have built a DoorGrow hiring system, so we've collapsed time on this. I actually was just up hanging out with Russell Brunson, if you know who that is, and I'm in his inner circle. He's probably the greatest marketer of our time right now.
Okay.
And he bought Dan Kennedy's stuff and bought he owns all Dan Kennedy basically now, and other stuff. But he's one of the greatest marketers. He's the founder and CEO, or was, of ClickFunnels.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was hanging out with him and his inner circle, and what I chose to share with them is I taught them hiring, because this is one of the biggest challenges I've seen in any industry, even with multi-million-dollar business owners. And Derek skipped all that. He was just like, yeah, I got a great team. So yeah.
Well, I think, and on the hiring thing, like I was just talking to a group, just like I said, an hour before. Yeah, it's like the tough part about hiring is that it's the firing part that's the hard part. Because it's kind of fun to hire people, but it's really hard to fire people. I mean, and I know that sounds somewhat self-interested, but it's like you have to acknowledge a whole bunch of things that went wrong when you let somebody go, and it usually has a lot to do with like your own behavior and practices and things like that. And it's generally, I mean, at least in my experience, it's mostly not the person's fault. It's mostly either bad fit for the job, bad fit for the person, get it, want it capacity, right? Like if they get it and want it, you can figure that out. Then you can work on capacity. When you compromise and get it and want it, and you hope the capacity, and you're enamored of the capacity, or maybe you just think that it's the best pick, then you're going to end up doing a whole lot more work, and you might even be inheriting another job that you didn't want to have because they don't have the get it and want it part about it. And so I find it's interesting when you talk about what the problem that you solve is that like all of these things are, like for those of us that seek coaching, we seek coaching in the context of just general business. But I think what's interesting about what you've done is you're taking kind of like, call it general coaching principles and frameworks, and made them fit property management. And the context is property management specific, which then helps attract people who are suffering from very similar problems. So in your group, they're all talking about, the same metaphor. Like, in my coaching groups I'm in right now, someone be dealing with a chemical problem, someone dealing with like all this other stuff that I know direct, the relevance isn't, I need to pull at it a little bit to understand the relevance.
Yeah.
But like everyone in your groups are specific about property management, and much less. I mean, is it mostly SFR, or do you have multifamily folks in there too?
It's mostly single family residential, small multi. We do get multifamily, and we do get short-term rental and association management. I mean, a lot of the same principles apply, but our bread and butter and what we focus on attracting are the long-term residential clients. But a lot of our clients will do multiple types.
Yeah, they'll dabble. Like, I think what's interesting is that when I share my story around like what was unavoidable about the kind of crisis I was going through with respect to this investment was that I was costing me money to own this investment, and I didn't consider that there was it was a systematic issue, not so much a circumstantial issue, right? Or the challenge before me, and so not considering that it was systematic and thinking that it was being circumstantial, it was like, okay, cut, move on. And but it would still have been nice to still have those properties. It'd still be nice I still wish we still had those assets, right?
Sure.
But we couldn't really afford them. And so like when getting into the available options of me having this problem of managing these properties and owning these properties and the cash flow, both sides of the statement, like I didn't know that there was this option. And so a lot of things we talk about getting hell yes is optionality and understanding the options that are available to you so you can make the best decision possible about the thing on your to-do list.
Yeah.
And so how do you find people that are seeking options? They're actively looking for a change?
Well, I think you have to start with the problem, because all they're aware of is that they have some sort of problem. But what I find is
Hmm.
most people are not even problem aware, which means
Hmm.
they know that they're not able to achieve something, or they're bumping against something, but they can't actually accurately see it
Hmm.
until somebody asks the right questions.
Right.
And so when I'm selling, when I do sales, what I've noticed is I used to believe that people that came to me knew what their problem was. I now understand they don't know what their problem is. They don't, or haven't thought about how it's affecting them emotionally. They don't know what their ideal solution or outcome is, and they don't know how that would emotionally impact them. So I have to guide them through a series of questions. They just think I'm
Hmm.
being curious and I'm coaching and being helpful on a sales call. And I am, but I have an agenda, and my agenda is to help them get clarity.
Hmm.
Them not having clarity is all I need in order to close a deal.
Hmm.
Not my pitch is like 5-15 minutes max.
Hmm.
I'll spend
Hmm.
an hour or more asking questions to figure out what
Hmm.
to help them figure out what they need and what they want, and why it matters to do it now or change it, so that I create urgency in them. Like I have to guide them through the right questions.
Hmm.
Otherwise,
And
they
do you,
don't move forward.
right. Well, they're being told what to do rather than self-revealing it.
Right. So I'll say, "What's your problem?" And then I'll say, "Well, how's that affecting you? Does it matter to solve this?" And they're like, "No, it
Hmm.
matters." And, okay, well, what's your ideal thing? What have you tried to do to solve this problem so far? Well, I've tried this and this and this. Oh, well, here's why those don't work. They're like, "Oh, okay, thank you." And then, like,
Hmm.
what ideally would you like? I want this, and this is the outcome I want. What would be different? Why does that matter to you? See, if I don't
Hmm.
help them figure out why it matters, most salespeople would be like, "Oh, you have a problem? Let me shove something down your throat real fast. I've got a
Yeah.
solution. Let me cram it into
Yeah.
your mouth." Yeah. And so, but until they emotionally figure out, oh, how's this impacting me? What ideally do I want? How would that emotionally impact me? What would I like to have? What would be different? Then they don't have clarity until I ask them questions. I watch their brain real time formulate this stuff.
Because they're coming to you with a symptom,
Yeah.
right? Like it's a symptomatic approach. So for my case, the symptom was that I was writing checks for properties.
Mm,
I was writing checks for investments was a symptom.
yeah.
And I didn't really fully understand the problem, but I jumped to a severe solution
Yeah.
because I couldn't tolerate the symptom any further.
Hmm.
And so I like how you've kind of gone through this process to actually identify the problem because I mean, there was like basically three big numbers that I didn't like anymore. And so it was just like, okay, out, right? Versus really addressing the problem, which might have been the financing stack, might have been the property, all these different things, might have been it probably in retrospect, it probably was had more to do with the fact what I was renting them at than
Yeah.
actually the financing stack, right? Because all rents were going up. But like it was like what I was renting them at, who I was renting, how the whole property was structured. Like I had a garage we weren't renting out. There was the basement we could have suited out. Like could have done stuff like that to change to re-architect the profitability of that door. But
Mhm.
I didn't really consider those options because I
Yeah.
wanted to get to severe results. And so I made a decision based on the symptom versus the source of the problem.
Yeah.
And I find that's an interesting conversation to have with you because you're sitting there doing the kind of the medical practitioner of diagnosis. And I'm walking in with a sore knee and you're kind of like digging into it or sore stomach. And you're digging into it, what did
I
you eat?
already
What
know
did
what
you
the
do yesterday?
problem is when they come to me. I already know what
Yeah.
the solution is in like the first couple of minutes. I
Hmm.
spend an hour helping them figure it out.
Hmm.
I already know my stuff works. It's already proven. I already know
Yeah.
how to solve their problem, but I can't just go shove it into their face and say, "This is the
No,
thing." And
no,
so,
because
yeah,
that's not hell yes. That's all of a sudden telling them.
right. So I love figuring out sales. I'm not a natural salesperson. And I'm actually working on a book right now called The Golden Bridge Formula. It's my secret to turning
Hmm.
people that can't sell into salespeople, how they can get hell yes. So would it be interesting if I shared that framework just real
Yeah.
fast?
Yeah. You talked about it when we first called, chatted. I would love, yeah, share with everybody else. Tease
Yeah.
it.
So real simple framework. I think everyone listening, you might hate sales because it's been pushy in the past. I think that old model is dying. I
Mhm.
think people don't trust anything anymore. We're at the post-trust era, but the one thing people trust or like is hopefully themselves. And
Mhm.
so this is why asking good questions can be really beneficial. But the golden bridge formula is really simple. At its core, you just have to be able to tell somebody, everyone expects everyone to be selfish, to serve their own
Mhm.
self-interests. I just need to tell a prospective client how if I'm selfish, it's going to benefit and help them.
Mhm.
And so I have to know so the formula is real simple. It's your personal why you do what you do, connected to your business why, connected to the prospects why, or your targets why, like what they want. And so we have to start by figuring them out first. If we're going to build this golden bridge to them, we need to know where we're building it. We have to figure them out first. Then we can talk about ourselves,
Mhm.
and then we can talk about the business. And so the golden bridge formula, the script is your personal why statement, which should be an 8 or 9 word why statement.
Mhm.
What's your purpose? And I'll share mine in a second. And what that means is, and then you explain it. And then your business why statement and what that means is, and then you connect it to their why
Mhm.
and what they're hoping to get. And it's super fast. And I find it destroys 90% of the objections, because the
Mhm.
only real true objection that exists in sales is I don't trust you. That's it. Sales and deals happen at the speed of trust. If they start talking about
Mhm.
well, how do you handle evictions, and how do inspections, and do you go inside, and all that, what they're saying is I don't trust you. So I'm going to ask a whole bunch of questions to try and micromanage and create trust. But there's no amount of questions they could ask if they don't feel like they trust you that would create trust.
Mhm.
It just they'll have endless objections.
Mhm.
And so if you find somebody's doing all this and you just feel there's a lack of trust, golden bridge is like the magic way to cut through all that and disarm them. And so here's mine. So my personal mission in life is to inspire others to love true principles. So what that means is I love figuring
Mhm.
out what works and sharing it with other people. I would do that for free, for fun. Does it sound
Mhm.
familiar?
Yeah.
I said this earlier. And the reason I created DoorGrow is to feed my addiction to learning and growth and give me a vehicle to be able to share what I learned with others. And so I get to work with the best coaches, the best mentors, and I get to turn around and share it with the coolest people on the planet,
Mhm.
entrepreneurs. And that's why you can trust me to help you win, because if I'm selfish, I'm going to get what I want out of my business. And that's helping you grow and win. Nothing's more rewarding to me than that. That's better than money to me,
Mhm.
is
Mhm.
getting
It's
somebody grateful for me helping them grow
because
their
it's
business.
because it's energy. It's
Totally. It's
positive
what
energy.
feeds my purpose in life.
Yeah.
And I could create that in any business or any vehicle. It's not that I'm coaching property management. If I got to learn and to share what I learned with others, that could fit into any business or any category. I could have been a teacher.
Right.
I
Because at
could have
that point
been
in time, you're
anything.
not actually, but you're not selling at that point in time. You're sharing, you're helping, right? Like you're kind of like, here, I'm going on a journey. Do you want to come with me? Like, who's in? Right.
Yeah.
Rather than you should see the world my way. And then to your personal journey piece, there's just endless energy for that.
Yeah.
It's self-fulfilling. It's nuclear, right? It just
Yeah.
keeps on delivering on itself over and over and over again with very little waste. And what I find about what you just described is that when you have like that kind of personal self-interest, but it's like self-energy
Hmm.
about the problem that you're solving, and you align it with a commercial result, and it may not have to be commercial, but that's just the way my brain works. And then ultimately with the result set for the person you're serving, helping, now you've got something that's sustainable.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
it's not a hobby any longer. It's
Hmm.
it's what you do and who you are, and then your identity is matched with that result set and what you're doing. And so the energy that comes from that, you can do forever. It's not work anymore.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
almost have to like you got to like you almost have to separate it from, because people that look at you from the outside, they think you're working all the time, but it's not actually work. It's just not doing other things, but it's part of this fascination of what you're seeking to solve. And you
Yeah.
could spend all day, every day on it.
So that's a lot of words to Guillermo to say. I'm going to give you a summarized version of what I think you just said that I think
Yeah,
you'd
yeah.
like.
Hit me.
So if your business is a hell yes for you, it's going to be a hell yes for your clients.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Ooh, I just got chills. All
I
right.
just
So
love that.
yeah.
I love that.
But yeah, it's
So then
gotta
when
be a
you,
hell yes for you. Otherwise,
yeah,
why would anyone trust you to do it? Because if the default assumption in sales, if you're talking to a salesperson, is what? What do you know the salesperson probably wants from you?
your money, the
Money.
deal, the close.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
want your money, right? So the
Yeah.
default assumption you have to overcome in sales is they know that I probably want their money.
Right.
And some people believe the salesperson wants my money and I don't know their values, so they're probably maybe even they're probably maybe willing to be unethical in order to get it too.
Hmm.
That's the default assumption in sales. So we overcome that by saying, here's really what motivates me in life. But most people are not even clear on that. So that's one of the key things we help clients with from the beginning. We call it purpose. And I tell them that's the actual product that you sell. The actual product you sell in your business is your purpose. It's nobody
Hmm.
wants to buy property management anyway. Nobody
Yeah.
wakes up in the morning, I'm so excited to buy property management today. No,
Well,
but
I
they
think,
want a partner they trust. They want to buy into your purpose, your values, why you do
well, I
what you
think that, and something you mentioned to me when we first connected was that, and I thought this is, I mean, for everyone listening, this isn't just like kind of like a PowerPoint slide deck that goes on the wall or in the stored in your downloads folder. Like it's like you actually
do.
start your conversation and say, "Here's my business. Here's what here's what I'm seeking to achieve."
Hmm.
Like you're transparent about your
Well,
objective,
I first
so that
start
it's
by
easy to
caring
negotiate.
about them and asking them tons of
Right.
questions about them. When I do transition into my pitch, which is like the tail end of the conversation, I say,
Yeah.
would it be cool if I told you a little bit about me? And by then they're like, yeah, of course. And that's
Hmm.
where I'll share the golden bridge. If I
Hmm.
get resistance and they're like, well, what do you guys do? And why are we like, this sort of thing? Then I go right into the golden bridge and it disarms
Hmm.
them. They're like, oh, okay, this is why Jason does this.
Hmm. Hmm. And that's when it becomes okay to talk about money if it gets to that point in the conversation. And this is
Yeah.
how I make money. Like, and you say that out loud, and this is how I make money. And they go,
Yeah.
oh, okay, that's
I would do
fair.
it for
Everyone should
free.
make money.
I would do this for free for fun, and I get paid to
Hmm.
do it, which is just amazing to me.
That's outstanding. That's outstanding.
And I say
You
that
do.
to them, and then they're like, they get it. They get it. And I'm
Yeah.
like, because I love helping grow business owners. Like, so if they come to me and they're like, got a problem, man, I'm just like so excited. I'm like, yes, please just let me solve this stuff for you. I could
Hmm.
probably do it right then. And sometimes I do. I'm like, hey, let me just give you some ideas real quick and blow your mind and help you out because I know you're in a tough situation. But I almost can't help it. But I want to benefit them.
Hmm.
That's fun for me.
And
Yeah.
then you do
But
get
there's a lot of
objections
things I
sometimes.
hate. There's a lot of things I hate doing in business.
Well, I mean, if we don't have we don't have all that time. It's Friday afternoon. But like when you take a look at the things that not everyone buys, and
Yeah.
you mentioned the trust thing, and you're a
Yeah.
trustworthy individual, you kind of present yourself that way, and they still
Yeah.
don't buy.
Yeah.
Like, what kind of objections do you get?
So Russell Brunson, who I mentioned earlier, he talks about
Hmm.
he has a concept he teaches called the three dominoes.
Hmm.
And if you can knock over all three dominoes, the only logical conclusion is that they should work with you. This is
Hmm.
attacking the logical side, right? Most people make decisions emotionally. But if we're
Yeah.
attacking the logical side, the first domino is the vehicle, which means you have to
Hmm.
destroy all the alternate routes to getting what they want. So there's only one vehicle left standing, and it's your system or your vehicle to get the
Yeah.
result. It's
Yeah.
your business. So you have to throw stones at all the others. So if I get
Yep.
on a webinar or something, my first thing is I'm destroying SEO and pay per click and content marketing and social media marketing. And I show them Google Trends to give them real data to show why there are not a lot of people looking for property management on the internet. You don't need internet-based leads. So that basically kills most of the alternatives to growing
Hmm.
a property management company, right? The
Hmm.
second, and so I want them to go, Jason's vehicle sounds like the best vehicle. The
Hmm.
second domino is, and in property management, that vehicle is usually like managing it myself or whatever. And so they can
Hmm.
easily throw stones at that. Like, did you raise rent in the last 2 years? No, you're probably 10% below market rate on rent. Our fees are less than that, or are that, like, it would be a no brainer. You get
Hmm.
free management basically if we just make your pricing healthy on your
Hmm.
rental. right? Like stuff like that. And then you don't have to do it because you're worse at this than we are, right? By your own admission. That's why you have problems. We don't have those problems. Our clients don't have those problems, right? So that's first domino. Second domino is the internal beliefs.
Mhm.
So this is where they're like, well, the vehicle sounds great, Jason, but I don't know if I can do it. Or I might
Mhm.
screw this up, or I've failed myself in the past, or I don't know if I'll make the calls or if I'll show up, or so it's internal beliefs. So this is usually where we talk about the support we're going to give them in the program. We're going to
Mhm.
give you accountability. We have a client workbook that you and I can see and where we can assign you things. We're going to map out your goals and help you figure out why it matters and like all
Mhm.
this stuff. We have a client success manager and you have Telegram Messenger access to us and blah. We have 3 weekly group coaching calls and like we have all this stuff to support you in being accountable and making progress, right?
Mhm.
And they're like, okay, maybe internally, it solves the internal beliefs, right? Then the third domino is external beliefs. These are external factors. Well, what if the market shifts or what if COVID hits again? Or, what if the interest rates change or any external factors? And you're like, cool, here's how we would deal with that.
Mhm.
And so once all those dominoes are knocked over, the only logical conclusion left is I should work with you. This is how you kill all the objections before you get to like
Yeah.
close and there's an
You
objection.
you
If you're
you
doing like a
prune
webinar or something like this.
you prune the options. You prune the options that it lands on your solution set.
Yeah.
And yeah, I have to. That's Dan Kennedy talks about that.
That's Russell Brunson.
Oh, Russell
Talks about
Brunson.
the 3
Okay.
dominoes. I don't know where he
Yeah,
got it, but it's really simple, cool concept. So
that's pretty interesting. Okay, I like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so you go through that steps and you get to your objections, and then you manage that through that. Awesome. And then they close. And then what's it like being a customer? You mentioned all the support frameworks, but
Yeah.
how do they live through that? And then we'll kind of get to the last few questions here.
Well, I find I don't even have objections usually if I
Mhm.
follow a new model selling framework where I ask the right questions beforehand.
Mhm.
Because by the time I go to pitch to them, I simplify it and I don't talk about all that stuff. I might
Mhm.
do a quick overview like that. I'm like, we got this and this and this and this, but then I'll say, but none of that matters. The only thing that matters is what you need right now. Anything outside of that is a distraction for you right now. And
Mhm.
based on the problems you told me earlier, you're dealing with this problem. And so we have this one thing that I think you need right now. And it has to be 3 or less.
Mhm.
You get into 4 or 5 different things, then they get overwhelmed and they're like, I need to think about it. I
Yeah.
want them to have 3 steps or just 3 things that I think will move the needle for them and help them get to where they want to be right now.
Mhm.
And we'll just focus on those initially. I'm like, we have all this stuff, but based on what you told me right now, we'll take you through our rapid revamp where we're going to clean up your business first, make
Mhm.
sure you have healthy pricing, healthy branding. We're going to optimize the product. And we're going to help you be able to sell you because nobody cares about buying property management. They really want to
Yeah.
buy you. And
Yeah.
so we're going to do that. Second, we're going to, we onboard our clients in person. So we're going to have you come out to Austin. We do a jumpstart session. We want you to come hang out with us for a day. We're going to dig into your business and find all the little inefficiencies that are preventing you from having time to go
Mhm.
and focus on growing your business. And so we're going to help you reduce your time expense in the business right now and see if we can find you money. And if you've got like 100 units, we can find you $10 more per unit. Our
Mhm.
program's already paid for, and that's
Mhm.
not hard for us to do.
Mhm.
So then our program's free from forever from there on out. And
Yeah.
and our program's month to month. And then the third thing maybe that you might need would be direct access to Sarah and I through Telegram. So when you get
Mhm.
stuck or you have questions, you can just ask me, send me a voice
Mhm.
message.
Mhm.
Something like that. So I would just pick 3 things that I think are what they need right now. And I say, does that sound appropriate? Does that sound like what you might need in order to get from where you are now to where you want to be? And they'll say, yeah, that's exactly what I need. It's rare
What's
they have
interesting?
any objections.
I think what's interesting. So and to kind of to kind of close it back, the or play it back. Like here's where you are. It's kind of classic story structure, right? It's like Pixar, like the setting, complication, turning point, resolution kind of thing, where it's like, here's where you are, there's where you want to go. We agree on that. Here's how to get there, right? And then if you need any, and I'm here with you.
Well,
all along the
the
way.
the ancient story is the hero's journey. That's what
Yeah.
every model follows, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm
Yeah.
not the hero. They're the
Yeah.
hero. They get to be the hero. It's a bad move to make yourself the hero in the story, right? If you're
Yeah.
trying to sell
Yeah.
to somebody. I'm here to support you. I'm here to guide you. I'm here to help you. I've helped lots of others, but you're the one that's dealing with the challenges and you're struggling and you're getting a mentor, and then you're going to win and you'll be able to have the magic elixir or the
Hmm.
magic lightsaber. I don't know what you get, but you the force,
Yeah.
but you'll be able to go back and now you're the hero and you can benefit your family. And yeah.
So it took you a while to get here to kind of this state of mind.
Hmm.
What advice would you give yourself, younger self,
Yeah.
Jason, starting your career, that you've kind of like, what kind of short advice could you give yourself to kind of
Hmm.
provide a milestone or a guidepost for folks that are starting their life now?
Oh man. Yeah. I have a lot of compassion for old Jason. So, I mean, he went through a lot and he struggled a lot. What would I say to him? I think, yeah, I don't know. I think that I'm who I am because of all the stuff that I've gone through. And so
Interesting.
I'd be like, "Hey, you'll figure it out." That's probably all I'd say.
Hmm.
Because if I know there's so many things I could say that would collapse time, but he wouldn't get it.
Hmm.
He wouldn't get the lesson and he wouldn't be the person that I am now.
So
Does
then, if
that
I were
make
to play
sense?
that back,
Yeah.
well, it's about the journey. It's
Yeah.
not
I
about the
think
destination.
I think that um it's just who I am. It's who I am that I'm going to always be focused on growth and be growth minded. That's just how I'm wired. I always have been. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I always would have figured it out. But I think, yeah, if somebody else comes to me and they're trying to figure stuff out, yes, I want to help
Hmm.
them collapse time.
Hmm.
And, and I'll read this book or do this thing, or there's this cool this, or, and yeah, I love doing that. I love being able to help other people. But my ability to help other people is because I've made thousands of mistakes. I've read hundreds of books. I've
Hmm.
worked with many coaches. I've struggled in a lot of areas. And I just don't quit. That's it.
Hmm.
But I enjoy that part. I've learned to enjoy things that a lot of people don't enjoy. I've learned to enjoy growth. I've learned to enjoy uncomfortable feedback.
Yeah.
That's
No,
probably
I
one of
think
the biggest
that's.
things. If I were giving somebody advice, like ask your coaches. If you get coaches, ask them for feedback and be willing to take it. That's the hardest
Mhm.
thing because it's not comfortable. I mean,
And if you get, and if you
I've
feel
been
like,
shrunk by some of my coaches asking for
like, I
feedback.
love that point. And then if you get softball feedback, double click. Oh, there you go.
I have a sandwich for you.
Must be 12:30.
Thank you, babe.
But like, and if you get softball feedback, double click,
Yeah.
because often you get softball feedback, right?
Yeah.
And that's no fun. That's not practical for anybody. We're all wasting time here.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I value coaches and I value team members that will share real stuff with me. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think part of it's building a system in the business that allows our business runs on a system I created called DoorGrow OS.
Hmm.
And that system is a recognition system, which is actually what motivates team members, not money,
Hmm. Hmm.
except salespeople. They like money, but everybody else on the planet
Hmm.
are not actually money motivated. Entrepreneurs are,
Hmm.
but they make the mistake of trying to motivate their people and team with money,
Hmm.
and that backfires. They're recognition
Hmm.
motivated. So we built a recognition planning system in our business that allows everyone to share their wins for the quarter, for the month, for the week,
Hmm.
and then in which we're focused on these strategic goals and outcomes beyond their daily tactical work. And so it gets everyone on the team working on these strategic goals. And I believe that cadence creates the culture. It's a performance
Hmm.
culture.
Oh, for sure it does. For sure it does. Right. And there's
Yeah.
tons of writing about that. And
And that gives me,
like,
I get real time feedback from that because I'm usually the biggest bottleneck in the business. The team are waiting on me on things. They're like, Jason, did you get your things done? And, everybody shows up every month, well, every year, every month, every quarter, every month, and every week and they get on the things that are assigned to them, the strategic goals for that time period, they get a green yes or red no in front of everybody else. So there's this positive performance culture and positive peer pressure, and they don't want to show up with red no's. But they want to be recognized. So they get the green yeses and we're like, hey, what are your wins? And everyone shares their wins. That's how we start every meeting. So our culture is positive, but performance-based.
Yeah. Well,
And it's
the mindset. Sullivan talks about that in gap versus gain, right? And that understand that if you get caught in the gap, it's a mindset of maybe what a loss is. But like if you treat every loss as a lesson and you move that into gain mentality, and gain mentality is the antithesis of gap mentality, being that you look at everything critically for how you progressed along that journey that we talked about. The you'll figure it out part, didn't include keep doing the same thing over and over again.
No.
The you'll figure it out part included a retro on what you were doing and why it did or didn't work. Yeah. What do I amplify? What do I turn down?
I either win or I learn.
Yeah.
You only fail
precisely.
If you stop.
Yeah.
You give up.
Love it. Who should we have next in the show?
Who should you have next on the show?
Yeah. I'm glad we had this conversation, but we got to have more of these.
Yeah. Anytime. Who should you have next on the show? I mean, there's just so many great people, but I mean, if you could get Russell Brunson on, he's amazing.
I'm going to go with him.
And we've mentioned him, Dan Sullivan, of course. Really, really sharp guy, and he's actively working on promoting his book everywhere right now. Also a brilliant guy. And anyone that's in the hustle, I guess, that's working towards growing.
I'm going to reach out. I'm currently in strategic coach, so it wouldn't hurt. I had a chance to meet Dan previously. He does do a lot of podcasts. I'm going to ping him. That's a good idea.
That's a good idea. And talk to him and just say, do this. Just say, hey, Dan, I'm trying to find somebody really cool to be on my podcast. Do you think you can connect me to Ben Hardy?
Yes.
Maybe don't do that. He'd be like,
yeah, maybe. Yeah, he would question my indirect approach. I appreciate that. That's fantastic. I'm going to go with those guys and see what they got to say. Also, just kind of closing it out today. Thank you very much. Appreciate everything. My notes are long with respect to what we're going to get into. The advice includes, I think the one I like to hear that's different is the enjoying comfortable feedback, right?
Ooh, yeah.
That is something that we all got to embrace, pursue it.
Yeah, if you really want to brutally chip off rough pieces of your character and you want to grow fast, it's get a coach and then ask them to really hit you with the real raw feedback.
Yeah.
I've asked that and I've been like gutted sometimes. And I was like, and I really had to sit and chew on that because I cared what they thought. Yeah. Feedback from people you don't know or care about, it doesn't matter. They're like, they could say anything. They're like, you're an axe murderer. I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, you're crazy, But if you get feedback from a coach and they're like, hey, you are one of my least coachable clients ever. That's what a coach said to me once. I was like, and I was trying so hard to help everybody and please everyone and look cool in the group. And his perception was, you're not coachable. You want to tell everyone else what to do and you're not like taking feedback. And I was just gutted. And that was in front of a whole room of guys.
Yeah.
Like a men's group. I was like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Sit down.
It was
Take
good
your medicine
for me. It was humbling.
Yeah. Wow. This is great stuff.
It helped me to kill a bit of that pleaser that was just lived in me from the religion I grew up in, from everything else. I just needed to please others. And I realized, I don't have to please people. I'm okay.
Are you a firstborn?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
We're born pleasers. We're pleasers.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of a funny thing.
The most. So.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, especially when I look at my 3 kids. Awesome. Well, this has been a great Friday conversation.
Yeah. Good time.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing everything. Outstanding. Will you be going? You are Vegas or Phoenix? I can't remember.
Where am I at?
Oh, you're Austin. You're Austin.
Yeah, I'm in Austin.
Are you going? will you be going to SFR West in Phoenix?
I wasn't planning on it, but
No.
I could.
Yeah.
So
Well, with the dog chimes there.
yeah.
Well, I'll be at SFR West. If anyone's interested, shoot me up there. That's December in Phoenix. It's at the Fairmont Princess. It's one of IMN's or Informa's shows. Great show. Last year was outstanding. They do a hell of a good job,
Oh,
and it's a
cool.
great way to close out the year. Again, thanks for listening today. This has been an outstanding point and a good timing for this conversation for myself personally. Hope everyone else as well. It's Happy Halloween. It is Blue Jays versus Dodgers tonight for an outstanding World Series. And obviously, you might know I'm a Jays fan. Well, I'm a Red Sox fan, but I am all in on the Jays right now. And if you're listening on Spotify or Apple, please like, comment. It makes it easier to find. If you are listening after the live, any comments, both of us will get any questions. And any dialogue about this would be incredibly helpful. So please add comments or questions around this show today. There's tons to listen to. Look at my notes here: the Golden Bridge Framework, the realizing impossible goals. We had Mike Wolber on in the spring. Said think big, right? And I like this transition from think big to think impossible and make your brain work on that. Points of complexity, 200, 400 units. If you're in that space, you're actually kind of like you're thrusting up against a hard wall that you got to break through, and the solutions that got you to 400 are not the ones that are going to get you to 1,000, 800, etc. Align your personal why, your business why, and the prospects why. The only real objection to sales is trust. The domino concept. This has been so chock full of takeaways. And you had me read. You gave me a book recommendation.
What did I give you?
Last time we read.
Oh, last time.
No, last time. I'll put in the show notes. I've got it in my Kindle. It's been purchased. I just haven't got to it yet. I'm reading Zig Ziglar. I'm rereading Zig Ziglar's closed book right now, and it's an awesome book.
Yeah, I think one of my team members went through our calls and made a list of all the books I recommended. There's like a whole spreadsheet. So, because I'm just dropping them all the time, so I have no idea what book I recommended, but it's probably good.
Oh, it was good. That was good. Well, thank you for today, Jason. Thank you for all the nuggets. This is going to be great food for thought for the weekend. Just let things mull around and stew in your brain and everyone's brains, and kind of like kick out some new ideas of how we can conquer the week next week. I think if everyone could get out there and think about your unrealistic goal and what that might look like, this is a good time of year to kind of cook that up and see what you got to mobilize around that. And well, thanks for being on the show. Thanks everyone for listening today. And have a wonderful Halloween. Have a wonderful weekend. And Jason, this has been outstanding, full of insights and questions for people to answer. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks a lot, Jason. Take care, everyone. Bye.